Good morning, everybody. Welcome to First Universalist. And happy Mother's Day. I have a song that I'd like to share with you. I think you're probably familiar with it. It goes, "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come." Jay's gonna keep playing it in the background while we get our bodies ready. Would you stand with me and we'll welcome the morning in some stretches. I got this undershirt from the Philippines, and it fits in so many ways, except torsos in the Philippines are quite small, and so you can see when I so every morning I put it on and I go like. So here we are. Let's sing it together. Come, yem, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Great, everyone. Will you take a breath in and out on a big sigh? Ooh. And wake up your vocal cords with this next one. We'll go in. Ooh. My dream for this song is that we can wake up the whole room and the whole maybe neighborhood around us. That means big sound, and it means lots of brave, breath-filled singing. So, would you repeat after me? Come, come. Whoever you are, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving, wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. And as you sing, would you imagine the sound waves that you make reaching across the sanctuary, not just your own ears, but those across? Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, yet again come. The whole thing, everyone. And come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no yet again come. Come, yet again come. Wander, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no yet again come. Come, yet again come. The biggest yet. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come, yet again, come. Come, yet again, come. Come, yet again, come.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you, Paolo. Thank you, all of us. Those words from the Persian poet Rumi are so resonant for us this morning. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Here we are, all together, new and familiar faces. It is so good to get to gather this morning here in person, and for those joining us online, welcome to you as well. My name is Jen Crow. My pronouns are she and her, and it is such a privilege to get to serve as your senior minister here. And it's a joy to be leading this worship service this morning with Seth Anderson Matz, with Reverend Laura Smidzik, with Paolo DeBuque and Jay Albright. Gratitude, as always, to John and Olu for keeping our tech working and keeping us all connected. And gratitude as well to Margie Smith, who arranged our flowers for us this morning. These little, as she says, flowers, but big beauty. Thank you to all of you, greeters and ushers, everyone who cares for this community. It's because of all we bring here that we create this sacred space together. This community where we lean into the Universalist understanding of our faith that names each and every person as whole and holy and worthy, welcome and wanted, all of us with room to grow across the span of our entire lives. This is who we are. This is what we are about. We are a community committed to practicing beloved community. Beloved community that grows out of experiences of unconditional love. Love that cannot help but transform us individually and collectively into a community and a world of mutual thriving for us all, here and now. This is what we are about. This is what we are striving to practice together. In this month of May, we are now deep into our worship theme of legacy and letting go and bridging. Each of these words are part of the larger theme. Each of them, legacy, letting go, bridging, require us to take stock, to pause first, to wait for a moment, pausing on that forming edge of our lives, waiting and gathering up gratitude and awareness, perhaps letting in those spiritual practices of pausing, of noticing, and then of choosing our next moves with intention and attention. In this month, we pay close attention to all that we have inherited, the legacy we've received, and then also the legacy we are creating through our lives. We are pausing to intentionally think about what we might want or need to let go of. Sometimes by choice, sometimes by chance. That letting go can be intentional too. And bridging, that liminal state where we are in between one thing and the next, which it turns out is every moment in our lives. This is a complex morning, as they all are for each of us. There are so many things we are pausing to notice, to recognize, to celebrate, to begin the process of letting go and noticing inheritances of. Earlier this week, a message went out to the congregation letting you know that Reverend Ashley, who has been serving as our assistant minister here since 2022, will be leaving to take on a new role at VEEP, which is a hunger relief organization, serving as their major gifts officer beginning in June. I know I have found for myself that I am full of both gratitude for all the gifts that she has offered and for her role modeling of noticing and moving with the spirit of life and of her call as it grows and changes, how she's caring for her family. But also I am full of sadness too. We have appreciated her time with us, and we still are. Reverend Ashley will be with us and available for appointments and goodbyes through May. Her last service with us will be on Sunday, June 7th, which is very aptly our Glitter Blessing service as we recognize LGBTQIA Pride Month. Reverend Ashley was hoping to be here this morning, but she has been surfing the waves of illness with her family. So she's unable to be here this morning, but she wanted to offer up her gratitude for all the kind notes that she has been receiving this week as she has announced her departure. And she invites in your prayers, too, for a break from the cycle of illness in her family, with herself and her kids, so that she can be present for this season of farewell. This morning also marks a time of thank yous and transitions and goodbyes as we recognize several leaders from our children, youth, and family ministries who are transitioning out of their roles. I think everybody's even here this morning to get recognized, so thank you for that. Tammy Eschelt, who's been a volunteer support in some significant ways for us over the last many years. Samantha White, feel free to, wave at least. I think we're gonna get you. Oh, and there might be some photos coming up too. So Tammy Eschelt, Samantha White, who's been a child care volunteer consistently with us for so long, Maya McDonald, who's also been caring for our little ones, and Seth Anderson Matz, who has been our intergenerational service, justice, and leadership coordinators. Can we give these folks some love for all they've done? So as is traditional in a church environment, there are some big cards downstairs in the social hall for you to add your blessings and thanks to. So I love a big card. I feel like you really only see those in church social halls. So please write down your thank yous and send them on their way with our care. Many of them are continuing as part of the congregation, so it's not like always goodbye. And together this morning, we are also intentionally marking Mother's Day, a day that can be full of joy for some, can be full of heartbreak for others, and probably a bit of both for most of us. Becky Brooks, who served as a religious educator for more than 15 years in Unitarian Universalism, wrote this: "Let's be a church where we can acknowledge right alongside how joyful this day is, how difficult it can be too. Let's be a church where we don't pretend there aren't inky depths of space between us, even when we are singing with joy. Let's be a church that fills space between our differences with love, because even in the most broken places, there is room for love. There is room for love here today and every day when we gather, friends." I invite you, as always, in this time we share like we do every Sunday. If you need to get up, move around, take a breath, take a break, move in and out, allow your focus to come in and out. It is all welcome here. I trust that your body and spirits know how to guide you. Now this morning, I'm going to invite us in just a moment to turn and greet one another. I like to think of this as the time we make real our commitment to beloved community, where we reach out to each and everyone here with that mission of sharing warmth and love. And this morning, I want to offer you a question to bring with you into those short conversations too. As you share your name and your pronouns, if you like, maybe share something that is complex in your life right now. This can be big or small. As I was thinking about this morning, I was thinking about how excited I have been for my garden. Maybe some of you can resonate with this. I planted my vegetable seedlings early in my house, planted the seeds. I've been watching them sprout and grow for a couple months at this point. And yesterday, in all my excitement, I put those seedlings out on the front steps and I went off to go get something. And when I came back, I saw the squirrel who was scampering away. And as I approached the steps, I saw that the squirrel had eaten, 19 out of 20 of my seedlings. And I felt complicated. So complicated. So maybe there's something like that in your life as well. Life is full of all the complexities, the joy, the happiness, the, oh my gosh, I have to start again, the squirrels who are just doing what they do. Let's take a moment to welcome in connection as we hold it all together. So friends, make it your mission to turn and say hi, to reach out and greet one another now. All right. I know it is hard to have these conversations interrupted, and I hope you bring them with you into the social hall after the service. I'm going to invite you to come on back. Come on back as we start to transition into some of the other parts of our time together this morning. All right. I'm inviting us into 3 intentional breaths through which it's hard to talk. All right, friends, let's transition our way back as we prepare to share in the words that hold us together in community. So I invite us into the practice we share each week, a reminder that we can, in fact, center in and settle in our bodies anytime, anywhere. This is the practice of 3 on-purpose breaths. So I invite you in now, in whatever way is comfortable, to join in those shared breaths together. From this space of connection, I invite you, if you'd like, to say our chalice lighting words together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Good morning. My name is Seth Anderson Matz. I use he, him pronouns. And today is my final Sunday in service with you as I wrap up my 1-year role as your intergenerational service, justice, and leadership coordinator. It has been such a delight to be with you here at First Universalist through all of the twists and turns we have made to face the moment this year. And the trust and generosity you have shared with me will always remain in my heart. This is goodbye for now, but certainly not forever. I will still be active in the broader UU and South Minneapolis communities, and I surely look forward to seeing you at May Day and in the protests and at festivals and in congregations and sanctuaries throughout. Today is also special for another reason. It's Mother's Day. And of course, we know that all families are different, and not everyone has a mother in their immediate family. But all of us have certainly been loved and cared for in one way or another by the mothers of the world. And I hope that all of us have people in our lives who we can count on for love and care. Mother's Day is now what some would call a greeting card holiday. But did you know Mother's Day was created by a Unitarian Universalist? And she didn't create the day to sell greeting cards. She created Mother's Day as an act of protest. Julia Ward Howe was born in New York City in 1819 to a wealthy, high society family. She was privileged to attend private schools and study with tutors, read lots of books, and discover a gift for writing at a very early age. But even though she had a very comfortable life, the more she learned about the world, the more she recognized its inequalities. Many people didn't get the same quality of education that she did, or have as much money as her family did. Not everybody had the same legal rights to vote in elections or even to have control over their own money or employment. And these inequalities caused a lot of struggle and hardship in the lives of a lot of people. Julia began writing about the world's inequalities and how she believed they could be resolved. And because of her social privileges and her strong writing skills, Julia's work was published in a number of well-known newspapers. And eventually, she even ran some of her own newspapers and published lots of writings about her belief in the abolition of slavery, financial independence for women and Black folks, and equal voting rights for all. Julia was also very concerned about the Civil War and was an outspoken advocate for the Union. She volunteered as a nurse to help take care of wounded and weary soldiers and civilians, as well as the children who were orphaned by the war. As she cared for these people, she also got to know them and their life stories. And she quickly realized that the consequences of this war were much deeper than the newspaper headlines. She now personally knew the people whose lives, homes, families, and communities were at stake. And as a mother herself, she saw the faces of her own children in each of these weary and wounded people. And her heart ached at this injustice. So after all she experienced during the war, Julia wanted to call on the mothers of the world to come together to share their outrage and dissent, help tell these untold stories, and advocate for those whose voices were not heard or valued. So with the help of some friends, Julia created Mother's Day as a time for the mothers of the world to come together to use their voices and insist on compassion and peace. Violence and injustice have been no strangers to our local and global communities this year. And each of us has been affected by this in our own way. Through it all, the mothers among us have held us, nurtured us, fed us, coordinated and organized us, all while tending their own broken hearts and their own emerging needs. Together, let us recognize that in a world that profits from war, these acts of love and care are always acts of protest. That's right. Today in Common Ground Sunday, our kiddos in kindergarten through high school are invited to come together in the Commons Room to celebrate and express our gratitude for the mothers and other special people in our lives who love and care for us, advocate for us, and help tend our bodies and hearts through good times and hard times. And one extra special and important way that any one of us of any age can express this gratitude is by following in their example. Passing on this love and care, sharing it with others as well as ourselves, seeing people in their wholeness, and taking the charge to demand peace through big and small acts of compassion. May our gratitude be the seeds from which the flowers of peace may bloom. May it be so. Amen. You want me to? I can.
All right, Seth's going to lead the kids, whoever wants to join him, on their way down to the Commons Room to go ahead and create and celebrate together. Let's send them on our way with our love.
I see a couple coming from the balcony as well, Seth. He looks like the Pied Piper out there. It's awesome. So I don't know about you, but coupled with the miraculous beauty of the emergence of spring, I find myself feeling a startling range of emotions. I think part of it is Seth was sort of articulating and is coming off the surge and realizing that beloveds are still being snatched up off streets and not given due justice. I'm constantly terrified by the impact of the Supreme Court's recent decision to obliterate voting rights. And there's the war and the stress of the cost of everything. You know, you're all living it as well. It's an unsettling time with no end in sight. I have to say, I feel really fortunate and honored to be in position of serving as a minister here. This year, we have welcomed dozens of new members. These are people who have sought out this sacred community. They found their way here, recognized the love and joy and power of community, and said yes. Sometimes they said yes with an enthusiastic exuberance and clarity, and other times with a shake of the head, wondering how they, someone who dislikes the word church and has never been part of a religious community, ended up here. They sit in circles with other folks signing the membership book, speaking words of their wishes and dreams of being part of this community. If you're interested in exploring that, I just want to remind you that there is another newcomer class that's not a member. The newcomers are kind of exploring a broader sense of church here in our faith that starts next Tuesday. I think there's 3 more slots, so you can look at the Liberal for that if you're interested. I know that this place and you people have provided a sanctuary for so many of us during this time. And we've also provided mutual aid, a glimmer of hope, time of song and silence, and a place where we connect with other justice-minded people. This place holds intentional space for people of all sorts of identities to come together, to share tender truths, and because of taking that risk, to find themselves feeling less alone. Here we hold the entirety of our very human lives together. So today we hold Meredith and Ben Myers-Petro's son, Finn. He was 2 years old, and his sister, Talia. Finn had some really bad luck with viruses this past week and was in the ICU with respiratory failure from viral pneumonia. I brought him a comfort shawl yesterday from the church so he could be held in love from this community, and it sounded like he was going to get moved out of ICU and into regular care in the hospital last night, and then should be going home in a couple of days. I do want to say that extending that love from this community really matters in times such as those. So we are sending thoughts and love for the family, and we say together, you are not alone. We are holding it together. Where did I stick that, Jen Crow? We recognize with sadness and anger and resolve and commitment National Missing and Murdered Indigenous Persons Awareness Day, which was observed earlier this week. This day was created to highlight the disproportionate rates of violence, including murder and disappearance, that face Native women, girls, and Two-Spirit individuals, and to raise awareness of the ongoing crisis and to honor the missing and murdered. We recognize May 5th, the birthday of Hannah Harris, a Northern Cheyenne tribal member who was murdered in 2013, and extend our love and care to all relatives who are missing a loved one today. Let us say today, you are not alone. We are holding it together. And today we hold Noreen and Bill, who are joining us from the Half Moon Bay congregation. They are here to accompany their son, Perry Havlin, who was dedicated in a UU church as he moves through his final days and hours. Bill and Noreen, you are not alone. We are holding it together. I want to invite you to call out together into this moment the names of those you want us to hold in this community and love and care. We'll do it just all within a moment together. So if you have someone you'd like to share or a name, please feel free to do so now. Oh, man. For all who were named, and all who remain in the quiet of our own hearts, let us say, you are not alone. We are holding it together. As a prayer today, I bring you the words of Lisa Bovey Kemper, titled The Circle of Care. After I read it, let's just take a few silent breaths together. In religious community, we share our joys and triumphs, our sorrows and broken places. In this circle of care, we make space for the complexity of life, the myriad of experiences that bless and break our hearts. The truth of human experience dictates that on any day, we each come to the table with our hearts in different places. It's especially true so on this day, invented to honor women who nurture. In this circle of care, we honor the truth that mothering is not and never will be qualified by one descriptor. Mothering, as you know, can be elusive or infuriating, fulfilling or confusing, commonplace or triumphant. It exists in the everyday experiences of each person. There's no human being that is not connected or disconnected from a mother. So we honor the complexity of experience writ large in flowers and platitude, but here in this space, laid bare, honoring the truth in our own hearts. There's room for all of us in this circle. If you have carried a child or children, whether or not they came to be born, we see you. If you have fervently wished to do so and circumstances of fate made it impossible, we see you. If you love children we cannot see, whether because of death or estrangement, we see you. If you never wanted to be a mother, we see you. If you're happy to mother other people's children as an educator, an auntie, a foster parent, we see you. If your mother hurt you, physically or emotionally, we see you. If you had no mother at all, we see you. If your mother is or was your best friend, we see you. If your gender says you are not a mother, and yet you take on the role of a nurturer, we see you. If you wonder whether your mothering has ever been enough, we see you. And if yours is a different truth altogether, we honor your unspoken story. There is room for all in this circle. May it be so today and always. Let's take a breath together. Blessed be.
Oh
As always, I am grateful for a space in the world where we remind each other that together we can have everything we need. Together, when we share what we have, we can all have what we need. And so we turn to this spiritual practice of offering, or as Reverend Ashley would say, the liberation of our financial resources into creating what we talk about here, the spirit of love and hope, a community of care and mutual thriving. We move in rhythm with each other here. There are times when we need to receive, there are times when we can give, there are times that hold both for us. So I remind us, each of us, if this is a time in your life when you might need to receive, whether that's some spiritual or emotional care, or whether that's some practical financial support, please reach out to any of the ministers, to any of us, so that we can hold it together. This morning, our offering will be shared with the Minnesota Prison Doula Project. The Minnesota Prison Doula Project provides pregnancy and parenting support to incarcerated parents, bringing birth support from trained doulas, as well as group-based and individual education and support. The goal of this project, of this community, is to nurture healthy relationships and increase parenting confidence and skills. This happens one-on-one, this happens in smaller groups. It happens through a shared vision of love and thriving. I invite us now to share whatever we can to support the Minnesota Prison Doulas Project and to extend our care and love to all children and families. Our morning offering will now be received.
I have never loved someone the way I love you. I have never seen a smile like yours. And if you grow up to be king or clown or pauper, I will say you are my favorite one in town. I have never held a hand so soft and sacred. When I hear you laugh, I know heaven's key. And when I grow to be a poppy in the graveyard, I will send you all my love upon the breeze. And if the breeze won't blow your way, I will be the sun. And if the sun won't shine your way, I will be the rain. And if the rain won't wash away all your aches and pains, I will find some other way to tell you you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
I often sit in a lovely sitting area up on the third floor of our old house when I need to slow down or practice breathing or meditate. There I look out this large window that puts me at treetop level, gazing down at the street. On the wall are my favorite photographs of our boys, Corbin and Quentin, now 28 and 30. To my left is a triptych of 3 black and white photos with baby Quentin. The first image is of me kissing him. The last is of Linda kissing him. And the middle is a mom sandwich, a double cheek kiss. There are photos of the 2 boys together in dress-up clothes and costumes, poised and candid. There's a photo of Corbin with dirt covering his face and another where he's sporting a short shirt that says, "I was hatched by a couple of chicks." Sometimes I look at those photos trying to see into their souls, to understand their smiles, to study their eyes, to take in their youthful joy and creativity. And when I feel I'm losing my way as a mom or that they are losing their bearings as young men, I pray for many things, including inner peace, clarity, strength, forgiveness, patience, and courage. This day, Mother's Day, seems to heighten my reflections and feelings. I suppose the same is true for you. The words I read earlier by Lisa Bovey-Kemper beautifully describes how Mother's Day can create a churning of emotions and experiences. She speaks of the complexity of life, the myriad of experiences that bless or break our hearts. Mothering is an incredibly private and public act, which is so often scrutinized by society. Those adjectives of good or bad are too easy to apply to those we know and total strangers whom we observe or learn about on social media or in the news. We are people with histories of being parented, often unconsciously triggered into memories of our own lives growing up with and without mothers. I know that I have grown in this faith. As I have grown in this faith, my judgment of others has lessened. I hope the same is true for you. And my heart has softened considerably as I've come to know people's stories. The gift of this beloved community is to be able to name that which is real and to continue to be held in love. The church has held an unimaginable amount of grief as children and mothers have died or become estranged. And you've also ritualized the most precious joy of new life and of family relationships. Within each unique story, there are touch points for all of us, and I wanted to share 2 quick stories of motherhood as a way to honor Mother's Day. The first takes place in 1965 during the Civil Rights Movement, and the other is part of my own story. The day that 600 marchers, led by John Lewis and Hosea Williams, started across the Edmund Pettus Bridge to demand voting rights, and then they were beaten by law enforcement, was termed Bloody Sunday. The night following that violent attack, the Unitarian Universalist Association's office received a telegram from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. asking faith leaders to come to Selma for a second march. The rising up of Black Americas across the South disrupted the long-held power structure, and many white people holding that power joined the struggle beside them. Thousands from across the country responded to King's call to come to Selma, and over 500 lay Unitarian Universalists and ministers were there as well. The story today is of a mother of 5, Viola Liuzzo. Those who knew Viola spoke of her as a woman of compassionate heart. So it's no wonder that she responded to the televised images of Bloody Sunday with heartfelt tears. Her closest friend was Sarah Evans, an African-American woman who was also from the South. The 2 women had traveled from Detroit, where they lived, to New York City to attend a United Nations seminar on civil rights sponsored by the Unitarian Universalist Association in 1964. They were both active in the NAACP. Through her tears, Viola declared, "I'm tired of sitting here watching people get beat up." And soon thereafter, she said goodbye to her husband and children. She got in her 1963 Oldsmobile and was on her way to Selma. Our reading said that we honor the truth that mothering is not and never will be quantified in one descriptor. The truth is that mothers make all sorts of choices that impact our lives, the lives of children, spouses, and sometimes many more. As I learned about Viola, I believe that she saw no difference between her children and other people's children. She was part of a movement's transportation committee, which meant she was part of a network of drivers who taxied people from Montgomery to Selma and then drove them back to their homes. On March 25th, she was driving with a 19-year-old, Leroy Moten, when a car carrying 4 white men forced her off the road. She was shot in the head and killed instantly at the age of 39. The image of her slouched over body in the car with a shattered drive-side window and blood dripping down the seat was captured and distributed widely by the media. For a few days, she was celebrated as a martyr for civil rights. And then rumors started about Viola through the media and into households worldwide. She was characterized as being promiscuous with black men, having mental health issues, as an addict, and as a bad mother. It was later discovered that the smear campaign was fueled by the FBI, which was trying to divert attention from the fact that one of the 4 men in the car that night was an FBI informant and a member of the Klan. Kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it? Her story went underground for many years, and quite honestly, it's only recently beginning to make its way to the center of our Unitarian Universalist story, alongside the death of Reverend Jim Reeb, a UU minister who was beaten to death in Selma prior to Viola's arrival. One can examine this tragic story of Viola's death through several lenses. Sexism in the form of lifting up Viola's motherhood, but not Reeb's fathering. White exceptionalism, demonstrated by the history of valuing white people's deaths over those of people of color, and how easy it was for the FBI to smear the story of a woman's life in order to protect their own. Her family suffered greatly from the initial unimaginable grief of losing their mother and a wife, and then from a wave of hateful acts that followed. Their home was vandalized, a cross was burned in their front lawn, and their daughter endured taunts and having stones thrown at her as she walked to school. Her mother symbolized what happens when people cross the color line and become sympathizers. Much of America weighed in on what it meant to be a mother who abandoned her children. The sheriff of Selma, Jim Clark, quoted in the Detroit News, said, "I have 5 children too, but the night this happened, my wife was at home with the children where she belongs." In June 1965, the Ladies' Home Journal published the answers to a poll which was asked of readers if they thought Viola was a good mother. 55% of the readers did not. One woman who participated in a focus group was quoted as saying, "I feel sorry for what happened, but I feel she should have stayed home and minded her own business." Echoes of what we might have heard around Renee Good recently and others. I wish I could say this scrutiny of mothers is in the past, but we know that that's not true. Our current administration is doing so much to disempower women and to criminalize decisions that women in more recent years were able to make freely. Society holds up this idealized image of a certain type of mother and motherhood on Mother's Day. It doesn't leave room for all the nuances so many of us live around mothering. Internal doubt, double standards, deep grief, and judgment, those are the other side of Mother's Day. I want to end Viola's story with a message of hope. In 2013, the Ford Freedom Humanitarian Award was given to Viola's daughter, Sally. Sally recounts Martin Luther King Jr. III pulled her aside and said, "I want you to know something. 30 years ago, my dad couldn't be in this ballroom. And today, you and I are here together. And it's because of your mother. And I've never forgotten that. It is both a beautiful and cruel world. May we find a way to recognize the complexity of our own stories and the stories of others. Let's take a breath before we have Paolo sing to remember others and the change agents who have come before us.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are a breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreams. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
So I come from a family of 4, born from my mother, Anne, and my father, Dan. My childhood was one of constant transitions. We moved every 3 years as my father climbed the corporate ladder. My mother comes from a generation where life was more prescriptive than today. She grew up in Pennsylvania as the last by a stretch of 5 children. She was an adventurer, finding her way out of state to Denison University in Ohio and to Turkey to visit a college roommate as a woman traveling alone in her early adult years. After college, she was part of a group of young idealist leaders who worked with the National Students Association, living out their belief that you can change the world through relationships with other young leaders in different parts of the world. She met my father during that chapter of life, and they were married a few years later in Geneva, Switzerland, where my father was working. My brother was born there, and soon thereafter they returned to the United States so my dad could attend law school. There, now with 3 kids, Dad and my sister contracted TB. Although they encouraged my dad to drop out, he continued his coursework from the infirmary, while my mother tended to 3 young children and tried to take care of my older sister. My younger sister was born later. Their story, my story, is one of what we might say is an American dream. Dad moved from poverty to an established career in law and in firmly middle-class suburban lifestyle. As he moved up the firm, we moved from suburbs of Chicago to London, back to Chicago, and then to New York. Mom kept busy as she enrolled us all in schools, created welcoming homes, and provided the day-to-day stability for our family. She did so willingly, not without bumps along the way, dreams deferred, a growing imbalance of power in their relationship. But that's what that generation did. I was in the middle of the 3 girls, and it's hard to get a clear picture of what the lives of my parents really were in our years of our upbringing. They weren't strict parents. We were all mostly stayed out of trouble. We all had our own internal turmoil and needs left unnoticed or unmet. But we also lived under that very common facade of a well-adjusted suburban family who was doing just fine. When I left our home in New York for college in Beloit, Wisconsin, I felt like my mom and I were attached by this long-distance umbilical cord. Conversations and trust came easily, and like any teen and young adult, I had my list of things that I was pissed about in regard to my mom, and I scoffed at her hypocrisy of injustices, the way that she demonstrated like inconsistency between her actions and what she said. But my anger didn't impact the love that we felt towards each other. I know I'm fortunate to have lived this experience. And then things changed. In my junior year of college, my father announced he was leaving my mom. Soon after graduating, I began to come out to myself about crushes I was experiencing on women. My mom fell into this deep chasm of despair over the divorce. She was living in Rye, New York, where I attended high school. I went to Rye High. Boy, was I not happy about that name. Rye is an old, established suburb of New York City where social lives were constructed around married couples. It's hard enough to be single or divorced there. And if people were gay or lesbian or trans, we certainly did not know about it. I naively wrote with such exuberance, we were writing back then, I wrote with such an exuberance an announcement to my family of a new summer crush I had while living in Santa Cruz, who just happened to have the name Beth. This news was not universally well received. My mom was caught totally off guard. She did not see it coming, and she certainly hoped it would not stay. I remember words like phase and those people, as she referred to lesbians, were constantly in her vocabulary. It was as if her denial and refusal of this information was so extreme that every ounce of her rejected it, as it was not a part of me, was just ever present for her. I was really shocked and hurt by her judgment and rejection. It was inconceivable to me that my mother, this curious, vibrant, open-minded woman, couldn't reconcile that her daughter was a lesbian. I remember saying to friends that coming out was when I severed that umbilical cord connecting me and my mom, and it would lead to years of separation between us. Those rites of passage, those cherished moments in heterosexual lives and the lives of my sisters, they weren't really celebrated by me and my mom. I met my spouse Linda in Santa Cruz, and the rest of my family embraced her. But years later, when I shared with my mom that Linda and I had decided to have a wedding, she wept. And they were not tears of joy. She came to town and hosted a shower, but left before the wedding. It was surreal to me to have my mother absent from one of the most important days of my life. 6 years later, as my mom and I drove across the Santa Cruz Mountains, I told her we were planning on having children. More tears ensued. Once again, they were not tears of joy. Each life threshold created a greater wedge between us, as her response of fear and sadness broke my heart. We still spoke to one another, though the list of what we did not talk about grew each year. It was when Linda was pregnant that we pulled her into a therapy appointment. With tears and love, we gave Mom an ultimatum. Either get over it, or she'd never have contact with her grandchild. We were clear we would not accept our child as being loved any less than any of the others of her grandchildren. And I have no idea what happened. I don't know how her heart turned that day, but somehow she turned it around. Actually, that might be an understatement. She arrived like all the other grandparents to welcome baby Quentin into the world. Her love for him and us moved to a place of joy and celebration and acceptance. Just 2 years later, when Corbin was born, Mom was at his birth. And she was visibly shocked and moved when I told her that his middle name was Beckner, her maiden name. A year later, I joined the board of Rainbow Families, an organization serving LGBT parents and their families. The largest event of the year was our annual conference. It was attended by hundreds of people and had 1,000 participants, all people of LGBT-headed families, and then folks who wanted to educate and sell things to them. Mom was a consistent celebrity at those conferences. She arrived in town early to stuff packets and run errands and bring food to the organizing committee. She spread the love throughout the crowded hallways. She moved from a then accepting mother and grandmother to a fierce, outspoken advocate for families like ours. Not always using the best terms. She would often talk about how those gays just love to dance. Made me cringe, but I understood what she was saying. Seriously, a friend and past Rainbow Families board member referred to her decades later as the mother of all Twin Cities lesbians. When I asked my mother about how she would describe our relationships, words like unconditional love, anchor, and rock were what she named. Clearly, that was tested beyond my imagination and understanding. As we reflect back on that time, we acknowledge that keeping the door open, even just a little bit, by staying in relationship is what gave us room to return to one another. Motherly love tested, fragile, broken, repaired, restored, and now lived larger and more joyfully than before. For me, that period of deep pain is part of who I am. It feels distant now, less important today. We were all reeling during those years as we were trying to understand who we were as a family with divorced parents. Mom was trying to figure out how to live with a broken heart in a society that often glosses over the despair that can come from an unexpected and unwanted divorce. I was learning who I was, being part of a country that no longer wanted to acknowledge me or my love. I'm grateful to have been cracked open. I became more empathetic and compassionate because of that lived experience. And I'm also grateful for the healing that occurred. My lived experiences fuels a part of me that never gives up on hope, that change, both small and large, can happen in relationships, especially if people are willing to weather hard and dark times with an open heart. I say this tenderly because we are in a very different time now with the country so divided, and I know so many of you are estranged from your family members. I also know that some of you were raised in families with great challenges and abuse. Some of you have mothers who suffered from mental illness and were unable to provide basic needs, yet alone love you the way all children deserve. And I also know that many of you have found a way to greater understanding and even forgiveness of your mothers through hard and holy healing work on yourself. Even with estrangement, even with death, relationships with mothers continue to unfold in our hearts. And they even sometimes reemerge with new memories and tender stories, occupying spaces that only held pain before. Relationships with mothers are textured and complex. My prayer is that all of us can be real about our family histories and allow space for personal reflection and learning about how we were raised and the messages that were helpful and harmful that we continue to carry today. I pray this is a place where healing can continue and love in all forms is embraced. I pray that we recognize those who are mothering and nurturing the young among us, and that we find ways to support them in the joys and challenges of this sacred work. Let this Mother's Day be what it is and what you want it to be. A day of connection and celebration, reflection, grief, uncertainty, or maybe just blah. I'm going to be joining a caregiver support group this afternoon with congregants. There, we connect over stories of shared experiences of caring for family members who are in differing degrees of memory loss and can no longer care for themselves. My once vibrant mother is now in memory care. Sorry, I didn't even think I'd get choked up. Thank you, says Chris, who's in the group. My once vibrant mother is now in memory care, where her days and hours have taken on a rhythm outside of regular time and days. I appreciate the opportunity to share a bit of our story today. May it be so, and amen.
invite you to take a seat for just a moment. I've got some opportunities to share before we sing our final hymn and head out. I want to invite all of us to the experience of shared spiritual practice out front on our steps just after the service. This is the practice of smudging. It'll be led by Amelia Marquez, who's generously sharing this indigenous practice with us and welcoming us all into the healing and care that it offers. All are welcome. Amelia will teach us and lead us in holding this space together, especially in this month of May, which is American Indian Month. Let us learn together, and let us learn as she has taught us to start with the medicine, with relationship and care as we recognize the resilience and wisdom and strength of our Indigenous relatives. After the service today, too, folks who identify as early adults, which I understand is under 40, you are invited to join together for brunch at Pizza Luce. Folks are going to gather, probably find each other either outside on the steps or in the social hall to head over together. This Wednesday, everybody is invited to community dinner here at church. It's going to be pizza. They were so good last year. 6 o'clock on Wednesday night. Please RSVP, and if you don't, please show up too, because we would love to see you there. Our coming of age service will be held right after community dinner at 7 o'clock here in the sanctuary. Do not miss it. Our youth are extraordinary, extraordinary people, ready to share what is central to their faith right now in their lives, and it is a gift to all of us. So Wednesday night, community dinner at 6, coming of age service at 7. Please join us. And then later on this week, on May 14th at 7 o'clock, our congregation is part of sponsoring DRUM's annual public worship and fundraising gala. DRUM stands for Diverse and Revolutionary Unitarian Universalists. And this year's theme of the worship service is We Ride at Dawn, showing up no matter what. The service will call us into courage and collective resilience in this time of uncertainty and fatigue. It is a free, virtual, BIPOC-led worship service open to everyone, and it's a vital moment for all of us to support the multicultural ministry of DRUM. Now, if you are a person who identifies as Black or Indigenous or as a person of color, that group here, First Universalist BIPOC group, will be gathering to watch the service together on Thursday night in room 209, again, 7 p.m. We can also all participate online. Lastly, summer is coming. Maybe you have an idea for something you want to do in community together. Please submit a program offering, and we will be grateful to have that and to join together. Now, I invite you to rise if you're willing and able to join hands if that feels good to you for our closing blessing and our closing song. We're a congregation that practices consent, so as always, ask your neighbor before you grab hands. Let's take that breath together. May you know love and may you give love. May your heart be open. May the flow of life and love be with you. May you rest easy knowing that you are held in care by those known and unknown to you. May we extend that circle of care to include each and all. May it be so. Amen.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we don't live. We will get there, heaven knows how we will get there. We don't will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be high and rough. We'll get there, heaven knows how we will get there. We don't will. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Go in peace, friends.